Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Say, do you sign up for our daily emails here at Rebel News? We call them Rebel Buzz. It's free. Just go to our website and sign up. It's the same information I get every morning to brief myself on the day. Here are a few stories from today. I want to read you about 10 of them. Scientists working at Canada's highest security infectious disease laboratory have been collaborating with Chinese military researchers to study and conduct experiments on deadly pathogens. The Globe and Mail has learned that one of the Chinese researchers, Fei Yan, from the People's Liberation Army Academy of Military Medical Sciences, worked for a period of time at the Winnipeg lab. Did you know that? We're working with the Chinese military on weaponized viruses. Did you know that? Sure, why not? What could go wrong? Here's another. Canadians who cross border for vaccine must quarantine on return, Ottawa says. Like I say, they don't want this to end. By the way, if you don't get any benefits from vaccinating, why would you be motivated to do it? If you're still treated like a danger, if you still must quarantine, if you still must wear a mask, if you still must go to COVID jails, why would you take the jab? Here's another story. No federal law allows any government to mandate COVID-19 vaccine passports, Privacy Commissioner Daniel Tyrion said yesterday. So far, we have not been presented with evidence of vaccine effectiveness to prevent transmission, said Tyrion. It is an encroachment on civil liberties. Yeah, well, this whole last 14 months has been an encroachment on civil liberties, hasn't it? But that hasn't stopped anyone, has it? Like this guy, New Brunswick Premier Blaine Higgs, says he's asked government lawyers to look into whether COVID-19 vaccination could be a condition of employment for those working in long-term care homes. You know, New Brunswick has about 800,000 citizens, and I checked, and every year about 8,000 people in New Brunswick pass away. I'm sorry, but they do. And since the entire pandemic began more than a year ago, how many of them died from the coronavirus? 2,000? 1,000? No, 43. Now, I'm sorry about that, but 8,000 people died in the past year, so almost 10,000 have died in New Brunswick since the pandemic began, and 43 were linked to the virus, 43. And they have shut down the whole place, and they're now planning invasive public shaming and naming of people who refuse to take the experimental drugs. Oh, and how many of those deaths did the government itself cause? An isolation hotel COVID cluster grows. Higgs says he doesn't regret rushing the program. Really? And how many deaths were caused by the overreaction and the lockdown and the harms that caused? Toronto opioid deaths doubled during COVID-19, says provincial study. Oh, okay. But they didn't matter. In Toronto, but also in Ottawa too, and everywhere, opioid-related deaths in Ottawa nearly doubled during pandemic. But of course, there's money to be made. I told you about the government's plans to use their tracing app, their cell phone COVID tracing app, for other purposes. Here's a UK story in that vein. UK regulator finds COVID-19 tracker for turning contact data into sales leads. Why not, right? But there's a lot of things to be done in the name of the pandemic. Too much money to be made. Too many opportunities, like voter fraud, for example. Mail-in ballots done on a large scale could open the door to manipulation and election fraud, says independent MP Derek Sloan. Yeah, we all saw the United States. So yeah, we're not getting out of this pandemic anytime soon. Oh, sure, they might lift their boot off of you for a few months this summer, but not if you're a Christian pastor. They might let patios open up at restaurants. Thank you, Master. But mark my words, they'll be locking us back up in the fall. It's just too good for them. The power, the money, the bullying, the name-calling. The little prison guards within each bureaucrat and politician have simply been let out, and they've been having too much fun to go away now. And really, who's going to tell them to stop? No one has for the past 14 months. Why do you think they're going to start now? That's an excerpt from my daily show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.